Good afternoon, I'm CW3 Troutman here to teach TBI awareness for deploying soldiers with traumatic brain injury. The presentation objectives are how to understand how a concussion/mild traumatic brain injury, mTBI, can affect you or your soldiers, understand concussions and impact mission readiness, overview of DTM 09-033 policy guidance for management of concussion/mild traumatic brain injury in a deployed setting, and discuss available resources related to training. Concussion mTBI management goals are shown here as goal, vision, and mission. And early detection, education and prevention, early detection, tracking and treatment, and rehabilitation and recovery and reintegration. So educate, train, track, and treat. Those are our goals. The Warrior mTBI management lines of effort. Again, train, treat, and track. The key point for deploying soldiers is concussion mTBI continues to be a major theater issue with significant operational impact if undetected and untreated. Early detection leading to appropriate treatment is cornerstone for successful recovery. Soldiers need to get checked by medical personnel as soon as possible after the injury. Avoiding a second concussion before adequate recovery is key to preventing a more serious injury. And then after concussion, soldiers need both physical and mental rest to allow the brain to heal. A concussion is a brain injury, also known as a mild traumatic brain injury. A concussion is caused by a blow or jolt to the head, can occur without even being knocked out, and can temporarily change the way the brain works. Mandatory medical evaluation and downtime for theater events associated with a concussion, no matter how mild the injury may seem. How can TBI impact the warfighter? There is a lot of symptoms, a lot of manifestation, and a lot of impacts. I'll let you take a second to read that. Every concussion or mild traumatic brain injury is different. The brain is complex. Soldiers who've had concussion may have different symptoms. The majority of soldiers recover quickly, while some have persistent symptoms. Soldiers recover at different rates and respond differently to treatment. Essential to adhere to support medical guidance after concussion. That'll include restriction of physical activity and mental rest. Impact of multiple concussions. Symptoms may be more severe with each additional concussion, and they may take longer to resolve. Theater medical management requires a longer rest period after 2 concussions and a more in-depth evaluation for those who have sustained 3 or more in 12 months. Leaders need to take steps to prevent a second concussion during recovery. No combatives, sports, etc. until cleared by medical. What activities help the brain recover? The cognitive or the thinking part of your brain. You need to maximize downtime and rest during the day and adequate sleep at night. The physical, you got to keep the heart rate low, stay out of the heat, and have limited physical activity. Sounds like a pretty good deal. Not really. What activities hurt the brain and rest and recovery? The cognitive, again, thinking part. Mental exertion, activities require intense concentration. Inadequate sleep, caffeine or energy drinks, Monsters, Red Bull, irregular sleep schedule. And then the physical part of that can hurt the brain, rest and recovery. Heavy lifting, exercising, second concussion, and sports and combatives. The highlight from the DTM for the deploying leaders: event-driven protocols. Exposure to potentially concussive events may require mandatory medical evaluation and 24-hour rest period or downtime. No sports activities because there's a risk of concussion until they're medically cleared. A minimum 7-day mandatory rest period, downtime for soldiers sustaining a second concussion within 12 months. An in-depth medical evaluation for any soldier with multiple 3 or more within 12 months. And there's a shared responsibility between medical and line. The mandatory events defined by the DTM 09-033, any service member in a vehicle associated with a blast event, collision, or rollover. all within 50 meters of a blast, either inside or outside a building, anyone who sustains a direct blow to the head, command directed, including but not limited to repeated exposures to blasts. Actions followed by a mandatory event, a couple acronyms here to screen: IED, injury, evaluation, and distance. Safety net to ensure eyes on all service members. It does not replace a medical evaluation at all. Enforce 24-hour mandatory rest. Unit leader actions: you're going to report through a SIGAX, combined information data network exchange, blast exposure, concussion incident report. Medical actions: they're going to evaluate a medical examination, they're going to utilize clinical practical guidelines, and then a report, screening and treatment encounters. They're going to enter note into electronic medical record. Leadership assessment: commanders are required to assess and report on all service members involved in a mandatory event using the IED and HEADS checklist. This does not replace the medical evaluation. It can also be used to assess those service members without apparent injury and who are not exposed to a mandatory event. For IED injury, physical damage to the soldier's member's body or body part, evaluation is the HEADS acronym: headache and/or vomiting, ears ringing, amnesia, double vision or dizziness, and something just feels wrong or not right. Distance, that 50 meters, where you're within 50 meters of the blast, and record the distance from the blast for all service members. A leadership assessment: encourage soldiers to remember the HEADS acronym. This does not replace medical evaluation. Soldiers need to see medical immediately to assess for concussion. There is a HEADS card to know the acronym. Again, headache, ears ringing, altered loss of consciousness, dizziness, double vision, something's just not right. Commander Leader DTM reporting requirements: monthly reports to CENTCOM will contain a minimum following data. And I'll just go ahead and show those to you. The Blast Exposure and Concussion Incident Report, a BECIR report. The CIDNE, the SIGAC input. It's just these forms that your leaders are mandated to do. The SIGAC input. And then let's talk about returning to duty. The medical provider will advise when it's safe for your soldier to return to duty. Theater medical protocols require exertion testing. Testing procedures are similar to those used for professional athletes. The majority of symptoms resolve with proper treatment. The Army has concussion recovery centers. This is an Afghanistan photo. I'm not going to show you that. Then there's the mild TBI concussion tools. Again, the HEADS card. There's a patient education handout and a DTM fact sheet. These items are free upon request, and you can get them from the Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center. What is post-combat stress? It's a long-term reaction to combat and operational exposure. It can impact the quality of life and can result in a diagnosis of PTSD. What to look for? Again, big list of things. This isn't all-inclusive, but this will help you evaluate your soldier or yourself. Concussion versus combat stress. There's some common symptoms. This is a tough slide just to go through, but I'll let you read it. Both are treatable, just remember that. Concussion's a physical injury. Post-combat stress is an emotional reaction to traumatic events. You might have delayed symptoms with post-combat stress, where you have an immediate symptom with a concussion, not always. And generally they may improve with time, or it might require a little longer time to come back from post-combat stress. Soldier actions: check in with yourself and your battle buddies to see how you're doing handling the stress. Make time for yourself and your buddies. Be honest about how combat operational stress has affected you. Communicate needs to leaders. Nobody needs to go it alone. Leader actions for mTBI concussions ensure that soldiers who have had concussions are medically evaluated as soon as possible after the injury. Post-combat stress, support and reinforce treatment and recovery. If your gut tells you a soldier needs help, get help. Good health is essential for mission success. And as a leader, you're going to do a risk assessment if need be. It's the easiest way, and it's the it's too easy. Assistance for soldiers and families. The Army has established numerous ways for soldiers and families to get help for mental health issues. You have your unit chaplain, leadership, your buddies, post the TMC, mental and behavioral health services, and then off-post mental health professionals. Assistance for soldiers and families. There's Military One Source, and that's militaryOneSource.com. Or the Veterans Affair. There's the healthcare line for the Veterans Affair, or the PTSD information line. In summary, mild traumatic brain injury, post-combat stress and PTSD, soldier and leader actions, and assistant resources for soldiers and families. I hope you got something out of this video for TBI awareness for deploying soldiers. I'm CW3 Joe.